I'd gotten the wrong muzzleloader shipped to me. Wayne's Woods and Water had a problem with the SKU code, and they'd shipped me the standard Kentucky muzzleloader kit without the patch box. And so we worked it out, and they contacted Traditions, and they just sent me straight from the factory a Kentucky Deluxe, which is what I'd ordered. And we're going to go ahead and open that, and we'll compare that to the standard Kentucky muzzleloader kit, and you can see the difference before I send them back to Wayne, which, by the way, those guys were great to work with. Wayne's Woods and Water, awesome. Simple mistake, they went out of their way to make things right. We got the Deluxe model opened here on the bottom, and I was just going to show you the difference between the two before we put them back, this one back in the box, and send it back to Wayne's Woods and Water. This is the standard, and this is the Deluxe. The standard looks like this, has a single trigger instead of a double trigger, no patch box on it, right? Kit comes with all of your hardware and comes with your hammer. This kit, you can't get the Deluxe in the flintlock, but you can get the standard, I believe, in the flintlock. In the Deluxe, like I said, you get the patch box, you have a double trigger, and same thing, hardware's in here, and then you got your hammer there, and of course, nice barrel. So they're pretty much the same gun, except for the patch box and the double trigger. I really like the double trigger because it allows you to make a little bit better shots with the set trigger. The first trigger taking up most of the tension off of the hammer spring, and then the second trigger, you can adjust the light pressure on it, and it's much easier to shoot. So those are the differences. There's only one difference in the SKU code, one number difference in the SKU code between the Deluxe and the standard Kentucky rifle, and that was the problem that we had. But Wayne's Woods and Water in Orangeburg, South Carolina, those guys did everything they could to make this right, and I can't tell you that I'm happy with them more than you would believe. They went out of their way and made things right. And so now I'm going to take this one. They sent me the shipping label, put this sucker in a box, send it back to Wayne's, and then this upcoming week I'll get to work on this guy, and we'll start putting this thing together and do some shooting, and maybe do some hunting with it this fall. So the rifle comes packed in a what they call like a clamshell. It's plastic. It's got a perforated top along here, and you can basically just pop all this out and lay all the pieces out. So we're going to go ahead and open this up and then go through everything that actually comes in the kit. Comes with a nice little instruction manual giving you the steps, how to put it together. We'll go over this as we go through the process of putting this thing together. Thing trying to get you to join the NRA through Traditions, and more instruction kits. You, of course, get a barrel. I think they call this in the white. It's just a steel barrel with no finish on it. We'll make sure we wipe this down with a degreaser to make sure we get any kind of sealant that's on there when we try to brown it. I'm not going to blue it. I'm going to go with the brown color. You got your forestock, or what's the forward part of this stock. Let you see the level of finish that's on it when it comes out of the pack. It actually seems like it's been CNC'd out of wood. It's not very rough at all. Doesn't look like it's going to take a whole lot of sanding to finish this. And of course you got your ramrod. It's not threaded, so if you need to use a jag or anything, you'll have to get a like a range rod or something like that. It's just got an end that's concaved for like driving the ball down, and then the other end has just got a cap on it. But surprisingly, as you can see, this is actually pretty straight. Some of the reviews from a few years ago, they were talking about how crooked the ramrods were. Of course, this is not a really high quality rod. It's not fiberglass or anything, but if you're trying to keep it as traditional and authentic as possible, you'd want to go with a rod like this. Probably a hickory rod would be better than this. I'm not really sure what this wood is, but it's not hickory. It's got a little bit of bend into it, but it's not curved like a snake down through there. Comes with the stock, and like I said, the fit and finish on it is pretty close already, coming right out of the pack. Of course, there's a little here. I think this is on purpose just to give you something to do. A little bit of extra wood here on top of the stock where the brass fits in. But as far as the sides go, it's almost flush. There's just a little bit of sanding it could take to flush this down. Here, the finish and fit is really good already right out of the box. I'd seen some from a few years ago where people were having to file these down and to get them to fit, and then maybe bend this a little bit to get it to line up with the stock. But it's pretty flush the way it is right out of the box. You can see in here, doesn't look like there'll have to be a whole lot of work done. It's fairly clean. Trigger guard, it's already drilled out for you. Hammer, you can see the action. All this works off a big spring. And this is for the set trigger. A little more sophisticated hammer with the set trigger than there is with the single trigger. End cap. Ramrod guides. Little spacer that goes between the two pieces of the stock. And the double set triggers. And then we got all the little pins and screws that go to hold it all together. So I'm going to take all of this brass and make sure that any kind of coating on it's been cleaned off, or any kind of seal that's been cleaned off of it, because my intention is to give this an aged look. And if there's any kind of sealant still on it when I go to do the old vinegar and lemon trick, that little spot that doesn't have it off will stay shiny, and everything else will age. So I'll make sure that this is all stripped really good. And that's pretty much it. That's what you get in the kit. And I'll take you guys along the process as we go through everything, putting this together finishing the stock, sealing the stock, browning the barrel, and we'll even go and melt some weights down, make some round balls for it, and side it in. So hope you enjoy this trip. All right, I got a little bit of time before work. I thought I would go over some of these components a little bit, show you the fit and finish on it a little bit better with the lighting. You can see that it's not too rough. We got some rain coming down, so you may hear that in the background. It's not too rough, it's pretty smooth. You can tell that it was CNC machined. And I was really surprised about how well the lock and hammer and everything was set up. I think a lot of this right here is left just to give you something to do, to make you feel like you're working on something with the kit, because there's no way that they have these things set up in the CNC machines for the ones that are coming assembled out of the factory. So I think they leave a little extra on some of these to give you some sanding and some stuff to do to make you feel like you're, working something. But as far as most of it, it's pretty tight. I put the barrel in yesterday and it's tight back in here. We're gonna have to trim a little bit of this out, and on the trigger guard, we're gonna have to trim a little on the brass to get the trigger guard to drop in here because it runs a little long. And in the instructions it says to trim the brass. Don't bend the brass, trim the brass. And they prefer that you do a little on both ends to get it to fit if the brass is too long. I'll go ahead and put this in and show you what we got to work with here. With it all the way forward up front, you can see back here in the back, we're coming up just a little short. So we're going to have to trim just maybe an 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch of brass off to get it to drop down in that hole. The spacing left and right, width looks good, and it looks great up front. So yeah, it's really thundering and lightning out there. We live on top of a mountain, so we get hammered pretty hard with some of the weather. But anyway, the fit and finish is pretty close already. The lock and hammer, this was really nice. It plops right in there nice and tight. I've already done a function check on it and it works out well. Doesn't bind up. I mean, that's not going to need hardly any work at all right there. That's right out of the box, how well that does. And then the trigger, if I can find it, what did I do with it? Yeah, there it is. Trigger will drop in just like that. Now this is drilled. It'll go all the way through up into the barrel, and a big bolt will come through the bottom, through the trigger, and go up into the barrel. And on the back end here, there'll be a wood screw that goes in and attaches here. So this looks like it lines up really well. Doesn't have to look like we're going to do any kind of filing or anything to get the holes to line up on that. But so far, like I said, the only thing I found that's really going to need some work is a little bit of trimming on the sides of this to get the barrel to drop in there. And we're going to have to trim just a little bit off the back end of this trigger guard right in here to get it to fit in. I haven't dropped the barrel into the front half of the stock yet, but we'll see how that works out. We'll trim what we have to trim to make it work. I just put the forward part of the stock on the barrel and it drops right in. We're not even going to have to do any sanding or chiseling or anything to get it to drop in. Goes in, it's got a little bit of room to play with. All the way up. Of course, you know, we'll dress this up when the time comes so it's nice and even, but I like the stock to look a little more slender as it goes out through there, more like a Tennessee rifle or Pennsylvania style rifle than this thick amount of stock that's on here like the Kentucky. So I'll probably end up wrapping a piece of sandpaper around this and working it, you know, down through here to thin it up, because I just think this looks a little thick, and I'd like to thin it up, make it look a little more slender. I saw a guy that posted one on Reddit that was nice and flush with the brass that goes out here without the wood hanging over, and it gave it a nice slim look. But that's right out of the box. Doesn't need any sanding to get the barrel to drop in it. So it's going pretty smooth so far.